Everyone, hello. We are staying at home because of COVID-19. Our life is also changed because of COVID-19. Everyone, you think that one. Today we are going to study about the poetry, right? You have learned, but today we are going to revise all these 4 poems, and we will discuss later on. We will discuss the questions which are asked in the past papers, and some of the questions I prepared myself. And first of all, I talk about the life. Talk about the life because life is very important in our life, important in our lifespan. Because without everyone we fear for life, whether we will happy in the life in future, or some people they will fear that their life how will be in future. So we are going to we are going to discuss about different poets. They written about the life based on the themes. The life is under the theme life. We are going to discuss the Earthen Goblet, Father and Son, Fear, the Clone's Wife. Right? Okay? Right. And the life is very important. You have to think the Earthen Goblet, it's about the natural life, and it's about that our natural life is destroyed by the external forces. And Father and Son, this is related to our life, and you also have the experience, and your son, your brothers has the particular experience, and you can ask your father or grandpa about their experience when they were in their family unit. So next one, fear. Everyone fear for life, because sometimes our loving ones will be detached from us, and we fear for something, whether how our life will be in future, right? Next one, the Clone's Wife. The Clone's Wife is about comedians and entertainer. We know we have a particular same things in our lives. We do something for others and we make others happy, but in our life we worries a lot. We have a lot of problems in our life, right? Okay, next we go to the Earthen Goblet, right? Earthen Goblet by Hendranath Chaturvedi, seasoned Indian English poet, and he wrote a lot of poems based on nature, and he wrote birth and death and reincarnation. His themes, he wrote a lot of poems based on death, reincarnations, and nature and birth, right? Okay, right. We are first of all, you have to know the poet by Hendranath Chaturvedi. So Earthen Goblet. Here, look at this one, right? Look at this one, Earthen Goblet, right? Earthen Goblet. But here, when we first of all, we have to think how the title is suited to the poem. First, earth. Earth is here. It signifies the naturalness of the naturalness, right? Naturalness of the nature, right? And the goblet, artificiality of the goblet. Artificiality of the goblet, right? Artificiality of the goblet, right? Okay, so we are Earthen Goblet. So first we think how the title is suitable, to this content of the poem, right? So theme of the poem, Earthen Goblet, naturalness of the nature, and goblet. Here we see goblet. Goblet is the artificiality, right? Artificiality of the goblet. So we have to think about the title, and we will go to the content of the poem. How the poet expressed her ideas, opinions through the different diction, different techniques, and different vocabs, right? And he using through the different stanzas, right? He has used lot of images, lot of auditory image, visual imageries, and paradox, and lot of things. Well, we will discuss later on. Oh silent, here we will say, oh silent goblet. Look at this one at the beginning. The poet begins the poem, oh silent goblet. The poet personifies the goblet, personification. He used personification, personifies the goblet further. Here goblet speaks. Goblet speaks. Here goblet is silent because it is in the dead form. Oh silent goblet. Red from head to heel. Look at this here. Here is also head to heel, from top to bottom, right? Top to bottom. Here, what do you mean by red? Red means maybe painted. The goblet may be painted with a red color, or it maybe signifies the blood, because it's a living thing. Clay is a living thing, so it may be the red. Red may be, it signifies blood of the vessels, blood of the goblet, because it was the lump of clay. It has fertilities. It is in fertility. It is living things. So it was taken by the potter and he put into the potter's wheel. And when the potter make it, the blood was bleeded, right? Blood through the blood. How did you feel? So, oh silent goblet, read from head to heel. How did you feel when you were being twirled upon the potter's wheel before the potter gave you to the world? Here, look at this one is spoken by the poet. This one is spoken by the poet. He spoke to whom this was spoken to, the goblet. He addressed the goblet. He addresses the goblet, oh silent goblet. Here, sarcastically and playfully, sarcastically ask the particular question. Hey, oh silent goblet, how did you feel when you were being twirled upon the potter's wheel before the potter gave you to the world? So see, the poet, he sarcastically and playfully, ridiculously asked the goblet, how did you feel? Here he had used what techniques used here? Rhetorical questions used to, how did you feel? Questions. Okay, right now we discussed the first, oh silent goblet. First he personifies the goblet. Goblet is silent. Here red means the red goblet is painted in different colors, painted in the red color, or the clay. The goblet, the clay has a fertility, and it is a living things, and it's when the potter twirled it into the potter's wheel, the blood from head to heel. Head means top to bottom. Goblets, you know the goblets. Here different shapes of goblets are there, right? We can say, look at this one. The goblets are in different shapes. My picture is not clear. Look at this goblet. It is in different. Actually, this is a good work art. They have painted in different shapes. Here we have this goblet. It's made of clay, right? In different shapes, different varieties, and okay, right? We will go to the next stanza. Yes, goblet complete is right. Goblet speaks continuously. I felt a conscious impulse in my clay to break away. So first, the poet asks the questions. Hey, how did you feel? And now goblet answers, replies, speaks. Goblet speaks. I felt a conscious impulse in my clay. Look at that. I felt conscious impulse. It has a strong desire in its earlier form. Clay. Its earlier form is clay. Strong desire. It wants to be a clay because it is in the natural thing. It want to be a natural state, right? The goblet thinks the natural state is the better than the shaped one goblet. To break away from the great potter's hand that burned so warm, Look at this one. I felt a conscious impulse in my clay to break away from the great potter's hand that burned so warm. He look at that, burned so warm, right? Everyone, listen to me. The potter first, he took a lump of clay and put into the potter's wheel, and he made different vessels. One of the vessels is goblet. After he had made the vessels, after he had made the goblet, he burned them. So after he thickened, that's the mean thickened, right? Clay is thickened, right? Thickened the clay, thickened the goblet. If not, it will break our one. So thicken the goblet. And actually the clay is soft. But first is soft. It's very nice, soft and nice. It breathes. It breathes. It breathes and nice and soft, right? It's sweet. So the potter, after he made the vessels mean goblet, he immediately burnt that. Right, from the great potter's hand that burned so warm, I felt vast feeling of sorrow. Look at this. I felt a vast feeling of sorrow to be cast. To be cast means to turn into to turn the vessel, to turn the goblet, to turn to the shape. Goblet means shapes. To turn the goblet. Feeling of sorrow to be cast into my present form. What is the present form? The present form is goblet. Now its present form is goblet, right? Okay. I felt. Why? Look at the poet very interestingly say, I felt, and he bring the readers to the feeling of the goblet. I felt vast feeling of sorrow. How the goblet feels when the potter made it into a shaped goblet. Actually, goblet is a beautiful one. Everyone agree that, right? But it is if its earlier form is clay, right? The clay is actually it's a shapeless one, but it is living things. It breathes. It has a life, right? Now after the potter changed the clay into a goblet. Actually, he died. Now the goblet is in there like a dead body. So I felt vast feeling of sorrow. So it can't explain how my life is changed by this potter. The goblet is angry. Now goblet is anger on potters into my present form. Fast feels, right? Okay, now you got it. I felt a conscious. Here he used a conscious impulse. It's a figurative language. The techniques you use figurative language, right? Figurative language to break away from the great potter's hand that burned so warm. I felt vast feeling of sorrow to be cast. To be cast means to turn the clay into a form, right? Form means the goblet, vessels. Vessels are one of the goblet into my present form. So the picture here, the goblet disagrees its present form. Goblet disagrees its present form. That's why it say, I felt vast feeling of sorrow to be cast into my present form. Right? Okay, we will go to the other stanza. Yes, goblet continues. Actually, this is a conversational form, but at the beginning, the poet asked the goblet. The beginning, poet asked the goblet, yes, Sagas, how did you feel when you were upon the potter's wheel before you gave to the world? So now the goblet continues, it's telling its sorrow, right? Before that fatal hour, right? Before that fatal hour means deadly hour. Before that deadly hour, deadly hour, right? Fatal hour, deadly. That doesn't end an unpleasant hour, unpleasant period, unpleasant time. You can in a different ways. That saw me captive on the potter's wheel. Look at this. The poet, very sagas, very interesting. He used the diction, captive. Look at this word. Captive means imprisoned. If anyone was imprisoned, they have lost their freedom. So here the poet, here the poet tells that the goblet lost its freedom, right? Captive means no freedom. It has no freedoms. It hasn't no freedom, right? No freedom, right? Freedom. Freedom. That's so me captive on the potter's wheel, captive imprisoned. It's in the potter's hands. It was imprisoned, like it feels that he was, that the he was means the goblet was imprisoned, but it has no freedom, right? And has, if it's in the early form, the clay shapes and it's a clay state, it feels a lot. Because it breathes. It breathes with the other nature things. It has a connection between the nature things. So the other, later on we will discuss about how it feels with the other nature things, right? That's so me happy for the potter's wheel and cast into this crimson goblets. To cast means turn the lump of clay into a goblet shape vessels, right? In this crimson goblet, you have learned the crimson means once you have learned this particular word, I think you have learned in the red rose and the nightingale and the red rose. Yes, the red rose, the students, he found the crimson, the red rose, dark red rose, crimson the red rose, right? The nightingale gave it to the students. So goblet sleep, you can look crimson goblet sleep. Here the poet used sleep. Goblet is sleeping now because it has no feelings. It has no feeling, no living things, no feelings, no feeling. Feelings. It lost its fertility. Fertility means it's connected with the human beings also. Fertilities. It has no feeling. It can't breathe. And right, okay, you think about that the crimson goblet sleep. Causing this crimson here, he used goblet metaphorically. The poet say complete sleep. I used to feel, look at this, the poet, now he told, Goblet told about his present form, how it feels when the potter put its lump of clay into the potter's wheel and make it into a goblet shape. Actually, goblet shape is very beautiful. We have to appreciate the art of the potter, but when we think in the other side, the natural thing is destroyed, because natural thing is the better than the artificial things, right? So here the poet Goblet says, I used to feel the fragrant friendship of a little flower. Look at this, fragrant friendship. How the friendship is a fragrant when we smells, and fragrant is we have a very, very close relationship, very closeness of nature. He means closeness of nature is described here. Closeness of nature, right? In friendship of a little flower. The little flower may be, right, it's maybe we can analyze this word little flower, maybe the poet maybe tells about his own life. He had a little flower, maybe he had a girl, and that girl's innocent love rooted in his heart. He couldn't forget her innocent love, girl's love. That is why he may have mentioned a little flower. Or we can say little flower in another way. The fragrant friendship of little flowers, because they kind of clays the fertility things, and that's connected with the clay, the flowers, whose root was in my bosom very deep. Here, look at that one. Actually, this is here. The poet used one of the technique. The techniques connects with the themes. Whose root was in my bosom. But actually, the inversion. He used the inversion, right? Inversion, right? How do you say whose root? Whose root was buried deep in my bosom. Whose root was buried deep, next one, deep in my bosom. That is the actual structure of the language, but here the poet used the inversion technique to bring out the theme, because the natural order is disordered. Natural order is disordered by external forces like human beings, right? So here the poet used the visual image, literally flowers, and he used the inversion techniques and fatala, captive, no friends, this is a metaphor, metaphorical use of captive metaphor, and Grimson Goblet metaphor, right, and visual images. So we can think about this stanza. The poet tells about the goblets, sorrows and worries, and then he may have told about his own life, maybe, right? Okay, we will go to the other. The goblet also continues, the potter has drawn out the living breath of me and given me a form which is the death of me. Here the poet is drawn out the living breath of me, living breath of me. Actually, the potter healed me. Sorry, healed. Yes, healed me, breathe, the living breath of me, healed me. What has drawn out of the living breath of me, healed me, and given me a form, which is the death of me, Now it's in the death. It doesn't like its form because it says I've given me a form. What is a form here? Form signifies, what do you mean by form? Form signifies goblet, right? Goblet form. Like present form is goblet form, which is the death of me. The poet juxtaposed two ideas here. One is living and other one is death, right? One is living and then death. My past unshaped natural state was best, with just one flower flaming through my breast. He tells, to look at this last line, my past unshaped natural state was, it obviously tells, and it doesn't like the present form, right? My past unshaped natural state was best, with just one flower flaming through my breast. Yes, flower, one flower is even a one flower. Flam, that's the best life. As he tells, the natural state, natural life is so interesting, so beautiful one. So that natural life gives me so heartfelt feelings, right? So then this shaped beautiful goblet. So we can go through here the poet used the living breath of me, juxtapose the two ideas, breathe, living, and death. Death of my past unnatural state was best. The last two lines give us the themes that we can and analyze the theme through this last two lines. My past unshaped natural state was. The Arisha, right, the goblet, it actually likes to be a clay, right? It doesn't like to be a goblet, right? So we will go to the questions, right? Now look at this one, the Earthen Goblet. The themes, we can analyze different themes. Artificial molding or strict education. Nowadays, the students, actually the childhood and students, they are innovative and now they lost their freedom. The government or other people, those are high authoritative, they design a set of rules, a set of schemes, and they impose on the students. They impose the particular scheme or particular designs or particular educations on child-grown students. So we can't say how this is impossible to bring our students in their future life bright. So we can't say. Next one, nature is destroyed or suppressed. Today everyone we have this experience. Nature is destroyed. Nature is being destroyed by external forces, by human beings, and suppressed because that one of the examples here, clay is the natural thing. Clay represents all natural traits, and the potter represents all the people who destroyed the natural things. Lack of freedom, lack of freedom. So like a clay, now clay was captive on the potter's wheels. And likewise, students saw childhood, they were in the one of the teacher's hands, and they were restricted in a small classroom, and they were molded in different things. The people they imposed, the adults they imposed, like a potter, they imposed their plans on them, whether they like or not. We do not, no one, adults do not think about the students or childhood's desires and dreams, and they are how they feel when they were in the small classroom, when they were adding the adapt new lesson, adapt new scheme of education. So we have you have discussed in different ways. Techniques, symbolism is used here. Personification, you have first of all we discussed Ozile and Goblet, personificate head to heel. Metaphors, flutter flaming in the breast, twirled upon potter's wheel. Metaphors, figurative line, conscious impulse. Figurative language used here. Irony, Goblet this is to be clay. Irony, because irony there is a contrast, right? Goblet is to be clay. Contrast it is better than finished product. Finished product means goblet in a finished word. Like, well, you have to connect this message themes with your day-to-day life societies, and you can analyze the theme with using these techniques. Inversion, you have whose root was buried deep in my bosom. Inversion, this inversion also, this technique inversion also tells us that how the theme is, how these techniques helps to analyze the themes, right? Inversion. Okay, right. Now we will go to the questions. Some questions. How do we write? Context question. First one. Oh, silent Goblet, read from head to heel. How did you feel? What poetic device is used here? Everyone, do you think if you know the answers, you can text to me? Or we will write. You have to, first of all, you have to think and you have to find the correct answers. We can say silent Goblet here. What is the technique we used here? Goblet. We discussed earlier personification, and what else? And you can change the color image. Yes, everyone, if you can text to me. Color imagery, color image, right? Red, right? Symbols, red means symbols. Blood, red signifies blood. So you can write in any ways, right? We can't say particular answers to these questions. Different head to heel, color images, personifications, and visuals, right? Color image. Who speaks these words? Everyone, you know, this is spoken by the poet. Hello? Time out, miss. Connect பண்ண சொல்லுங்க. இன்னும் போய் தான் சொன்னோம். மீட்டிங் போட்டுவிட்டு திருப்பிடமா. Okay, right? Now we will go. Everyone, listen to me. Are you joining here? Okay, listen to me. We will go to the second B part. Who speaks these words? It was spoken by the poet, Henrinath Chattopadhyay, or you can mention the poet's name, or you can write the whatever poet. What is the attitude of the speaker towards the Goblet? What is the attitude of the speaker? Here, speaker is poet towards the Goblet. What is the attitude? The playful. You can write a lot of things. Playful, sarcastically, right? Sarcasm, right? Sarcasm, cynical, right? A ridiculous one, right? You can write a lot of things, right? Do you have any doubts in these questions? If you have doubts, please text to me, right? Shall we go to the other questions? Right, okay. Okay, next one, the fractal friendship of a little flower whose root was in my bosom. very deep, right? This is the, you know, there is, it gives an important message to the readers. And find the literal device using the lines. And find a literal device, you can find the little flower, you can write what is the image, visual images, right, or simple, right? Who this one is, you know, this one is inversion, right? Visual images, imageries, right? Inversion, right? Inversion techniques, and symbols, metaphor, we can write whatever, right? What does the second line signify? Second line, what do you mean by whose root was in my bosom breed? What does the second line signify? What do you think about this one? That there's a whose root was in my bosom, but this is spoken by the goblet, so that it feels there, it signifies the closeness of nature, closeness, signifies closeness, right? Closeness of nature, right? Closeness of nature, right? And whatever you can write, where closeness of, what do you think? Whose root was in my bosom very deep? Closeness of nature, connection between the nature, right? Connections, connections, connection between the nature, between nature, among the nature, between nature, whatever, right? Okay, right. Next one, do you can write any answers related to these questions and related to this stanza lines, right? So we can't say, but again and again I say the answer given by B is not an exact one, right? You can, something is an exact one, but you can write, you can use the words in different ways, but the theme, but the answer should be, without change the concept, you can use any words. So you have to you have to remember the word, remember my advice, that the word, that the answers are given by me is not an exact one, right? You don't think, you can write different ways. So I will guide you, right? This is my answer, right? What is the theme reflected in these two lines? What is the theme, right? First of all, I told you inversion, the natural order is, natural state is, natural thing is destroyed. Natural thing is destroyed, right? Natural thing is natural one is, natural state is better than artificial one. Artificial one. Natural state is reserved one. You can, natural state is reserved one. Actually, this is a reserve, no? Reserved. Without nature, we can't live. We can have a nice life, no? Everyone, you agree that one? What is theme referring this? Okay, right? Do you have any suggestion or any opinions in these questions? Do you have? Right? I will remember you again, please. If you have any ideas, please text to me, right? Right? Okay, so next we will go to the other questions. The potter has drawn out the living breath of me and given me a form which is the death of me. Name the poet. You know the Harindranath Chattopodiyar. You can write clearly. I have written very short. What is the mean by form? Form is the goblet. Goblet form. Its present form is goblet. And how would you explain the feeling of the speaker? Here's goblet. How does it feel? How, right? It feels sorrow, sympathy, pity. It has sorrow, worries, right? Worries, right? Frustrations. It is in frustration mood. Frustrations, depression. Depression mood, right? You can write whatever you feel. You feel that lines and you read the lines again and you feel and write now, right? Okay, we will go to the next one. now we have to discuss with reference to the poem through the voice of a goblet how natural life is destroyed and saved by external forces. These questions is asked to you. I think it's was asked in 2000. One of the December I have 2017 or maybe 2017 or maybe December questions. This question was asked how natural life is. 2017 maybe December. The question was asked how natural life is destroyed and shaped by external forces, and you have to discuss these questions with a reference to the poems. Next one, children are made to follow and adapt to new trends of education. Now earlier I told you how the students are adapted to a new scheme of education, new life of education. Every year the government, when they were changed, they adapt, they prepare new reforms and they impose that particular education on students. So you can think about different ways. Children are directed to give up their flexibility and become rigid role models. Yes, it's actually I agree that children are directed. I don't know whether you will like or not, you will agree or not. So we can say some of you can disagree this point, or you can, if you disagree this point, you can argue, analyze the poem, and prove that right children are directed to give up their flexibility and become rigid models. Yes, you are. We are now. We are doing that same thing, no? Right. Say plus clay with beautiful goblet. So we can say some of you we can add. So if the students are letting free, how would be their life in future, right? We have to mold. Students has to be molded. Students are, they are immature. Without we are molding them, their life will be spoiled in future. So like a beautiful goblet, say plus clay. Clay is the students. Look at the say plus clay represents the immature students, immature childhood, right? Beautiful. Right now they become a doctor, engineer, or actor, like beautiful goblet. We have make them with the human values. We have add the human values, right? If we do not mold them, their life will be spoiled, no? Right? So you can discuss in different ways with a reference to the poem and write your answers, right? Okay, well, we will go to the other poems, right? As we have a short time. Oh, my. ഇല്ല ടൈമില്ല ഇത് poem ഉണ്ട്. If you have any doubts, please text to me. Right? We are going to other lessons, other poems, father and son. So if you have any doubts, please text to me. Right? Father and son. Right? Before we have to share the poems, we will discuss the father and son. It was written by Hat Stevens and right? He is actually the father and son. No, Shia. No, Shia. No, next poem. Okay, good morning, students. Thank you. Sorry for the interruptions. We will continue other poems. We are going to discuss the father and son. It was written by Hat Stevens, and he's actually, this poem is lyrics. It's songs. It is right, and he wrote this poem in his lyrics way songwriter. Actually, when you can listen to the songs, if you have the chance to. If you have the chance, browse in the internet, and you listen to and when you listen to the poems, you can identify, you analyze the how the conversation occurred between the father and son, right? Right. Hat Stevens is a great, is a English British poet, and he is also a humanitarian, and he wrote many poems based on the wild world, peace, and lot of things. Right. So we are going to discuss the poems. Look at this: a father, right? Father, right? Father, right? Father. Here, father speaks, and there it is about our day-to-day life. You have that experience because you have the brothers at your homes, and you it's a lively, you have this experience. So we will discuss the reference to the poem. Father, here father speaks, it's not time to make a change, just relax, take it easy. No, it's not time to make a change. Usually the son is, and when the son he grows up, adolescents or teenagers or even adult, he wants to make a change. He wants to make a change. Actually, this is a natural things, no? Whether anyone, when they will grow up, there's a change. They actually change, physically change, intellectually change. Those change is occurred when the students or son or daughter, even daughter or whoever, when they grow up, the changes will happen. So the father here tells it's not time to make a change, right? Father is here. We can define the father as a traditionalist one. We have that particular fathers in our society now. Just relax, take it easy. Father, actually, the father tells it not to spoil his son, but he tells, advise these things to for his son's better life. Just relax and take it easy. So the father's advice is a typical father's, right? Typical father. Here the father is a typical father. Father, right? Represents a typical father's parental advice. Yeah, just not time change, just relax, take it easy. Yeah, use just relax, commanding, just imperative form. Imperative form is used. Just relax. Imperative advice. Just relax. Take it easy. You are still young. That's your fault. Here father tells, you are still young. That's your fault. That's your fault means, what do you mean by that's your fault? That's a immature son, immature. Son is immature one, right? And he has inexperience, right? Hasn't any experience as father. You're still young, that's it. Actually, fathers, they think, usually the fathers or mothers, even the parents, they think whether their child grown up, adolescents or teenagers stage, they still think they are their small child, like an infant. They take care of them as an infant or small child, like they go to the Montessori, they lick whatever they do. Oh, you don't do like it because you can't do it, because you don't know how it is manipulated. They every day when they switch off the switch on the TV, or when they switch on the radio, whatever. Oh, no, don't do it. You don't know. But the children, but the child is innovative and he knows everything. But the traditionalist fathers, they think that their child is immature one. He or she doesn't have any experience. So that's why he said, that's your fault. There is so much you have to know. Because you don't have any experience in the world. That's why he says there is so much you have to know. You have to have an experience, right? So that's why he says, find a girl, settle her down. if you want, you can marry. She says, ridiculously, this one ridiculous one. So actually the fathers, the typical fathers, typical mothers, they thinks that if the son or daughter, if they marry, they are they will create a responsible because they have a family unit and they would know about the world in different manners, right? So that's why the father say, okay, you leave other things and you have to find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can. The father thinks if the son gets married, he will be responsible and he know the world in different manners. That's why father say, look at me. I am old. I am happy. Right? I am old, but I am. See, a father's conservative path is reflected through this. I look at me. Look at, he tells, follow me. I have followed my father's advice, so you have to follow me. Look at me. I am old, but I am happy. Right? His conservative path of the father. That traditionalist conservative path of father is the path of the father is reflected here, right? They're reflected, right? You can think like that, right? So we have this particular experience. You have, as we know, when we study this poem, some of you have that particular experience. You are at your home, or even you at your neighbor's house, so you can find out, right? Find it, settle down. Just right. He used the imperative form. Just relax, take it easy, right? That's your fault means immature one, or the son hasn't any experience, right? So much you have to know means, right? You have to know a lot of things about it because you don't have any experience, right? Next one, father speaks continuously. I was once you like you are now, and I know that is not easy. You are right, the word was distanced here. I was once like you are now. See, tell everyone we say, usually adults use these particular words. I was once like you are now. I had the experience like you. I passed your stage. I also I was a teenager. I knew everything, right? I had the same things when I was in the past, right? I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy. The father strictly says that he has the problem when he was in the childhood, when he was in adolescence. So he applies the particular his problems on his son. Usually we also have that because we fear, because that is not a father's fault. We can't say this is father's fault. This is the tradition of every fathers. They use this particular manner. They have this particular manners because they fear that their son is going to fall in the troubles, right? Right? So that is the fathers, they think. They do not think the negative way. To be calm when you have found something going in, you have to calm. Don't hurry up. Usually today, the adolescents or teenagers, everything they do busily, right? To harm when you have found something going on. You have to very calm. You have to don't hurry up, right? But take your time, think a lot. Why? Think of everything you have got. Here the father advises his son in a very fruitful way. Yes, yeah, this is the acceptable advices of fathers, right? You have to be, the son must be a calm, right? Take your time, think a lot. Why? Think of everything you have. So sometimes the father's advices hurts the sons or daughters, right? They think, what do they say, right? I don't know. Why do they say they like this way? But they are telling the same thing. So the sons or daughter, they never listen to the father's or mother's advice. Here's the father's advice. The father's advice is acceptable one here. You can think, right? Why think of everything you have got? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. The father thinks, fears. He is anxious that his sons would be shattered with his dreams, shattered dreams. His son dreams would be shattered dreams, right? Shattered dreams. He anxious, right? Dreams, right? So that's why the father fear of his son's future life, right? So here is also father poet uses Here is so father, you just take your own time, think, imperative form to show the father's commanding power. Or over protection, we can say over protections, over protection or dominant nature, right? Possessive nature, we can say possessive nature. Take your time. Why? Think, right? Possessive nature of the fathers, right? So we will go to the other lesson, other stanza, right? Okay. Next one, son speaks. Now the son, actually here son doesn't speak to father. He speaks himself, or he may speaks to other third party. Because how do you find out? Because at the beginning the father, he uses the particular words, but here look at the son. Actually this son speaks to a third party or himself, because that the conversation also brings out a theme that the son is suppressed at home, right? Suppressed by home, right? He has no freedom. He has no freedom. We can't say no freedom, but he was suppressed, right? Right. How can I try to explain? Because when I do, he turns away again, right? How can I try to explain? Here we also say, you also say, as you are students, you also say, how can I try to explain? Here we write, look at this one, right? Look at this. How can he asks questions himself? How can I try to explain? Because when do he turns away? This is a typical fathers or mothers. They do these type of behavior, right? This type of behavior usually they do. How can here son is in frustration? This indicates son is in a frustration mood or depression mood. Because how can I try to explain? He never listened to me. What I say, he never listened to me. That's usually the fathers they do, because they think their advice, their opinion is the correct one, right? So the misunderstanding of the fathers is reflected here, right? There's no mutual understanding between the father and son. It's always been the same story. Same old story. He mentions, same old story. Here the poet used as. What do you mean by alteration? Right? Alteration, right? Oh, it's always been same old story, right? So this is the visually you also have your mother. Whenever you ask, whatever you ask your mother or father, they even you are the daughters, and you also your father or your mothers, they whatever you ask, they neglects or they ignores your advices, ignores your desires, ignores your dreams. Sometimes, not all, no, we can't say all fathers and all mothers, but a few of them, right? Even we have a particular, because we can't say that it's not fault of them, that they think that their son or daughters have to have a better life in future. So you have to analyze you in your view, right? From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. Look at there, right? I could talk, I was ordered to listen. This is the risk, right? Father thinks what I say, you must follow, right? The dominant nature of father is different. Dominant nature, right? Dominant nature of the father is reflected here, right? I was the father thinks that the child, that her son is even a small child, right? That is why I was ordered to listen. The son always, what is it? No, you don't tell anything. Don't tell anything to me, right? Father advises. They never listen to you. I know everything. You have to please. You have to be calm. What I say, you have to follow that. What I say, you have to do that. Right? Father's advice, because they command the students, they command the sons, right? But the sons, even he is in the teenage stage or adolescent stage or even adult, right? So this is the nature of the fathers. Even every father's there. I don't know how the today's sons and fathers relationship, how it was written, I think more than earlier, late centuries, but nowadays you can think about, right? Now there is a way, and I know that I have to go away, right? So for sons to look at the sons. Now there's a way, and I know he find a way, Different ways are there. I can go there. I can go and achieve my goals, achieve my dreams. Why? What's the life in that inside the home? Right now there's a way, and I know that I have to go. I know I have to go away. So he wants to go out of the house, out of the restricted family life. So he wants to achieve his goals. He has a lot of dreams. He has a lot of opinions, judgment. He has a self-judgment. He can self-evaluate himself, right? I know I have to. Here he repeated, I know I have to go. I know that I have to go. He repeatedly, because that says that he is strong desire in his dreams. He wants to go out because he is better in intellectually or socially, or he doesn't like the family life or whatever we can say, right? Okay, right. So here the fathers, how can the rhetorical question is used here? How can write explain through the rhetorical question? The poet reflect their son's frustration and depression mode, right? Same old story alteration used here, right? There is a way means that there is a way different out of the world, in the world, out of the house, right? He has a lot of things you have to know. Repetition, he uses repetition. I have to go away, I have to go. Here I have to go, right? I was ordered to listen. That's reflected the father's dominant. Overprotections, we can say overprotection of parents, overprotection of a parents, right? We can say, right? Okay, right. We will go to the other one, right? Father speaks again. Father speaks. When we are talking, suddenly father came. When we are thinking about what the father says, suddenly father come and again he advises. Hey, father, it's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You are still young. That's just he tells again and then the same advices. Repetition is used here. Repetition, right? Repetition is used here. He tells same advices. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me. I am old. By I have it. Their father's advices repeatedly shows that they reflected. It depicts how the father dominated the sons, how he dominated his son, how he how he thinks. The father thinks that he followed the social norms. He was grown up by his adolescence like this way, according to the traditional way. So why father thinks, why my son can't live like that way? Why my son can't follow my way, my conservative path? So father thinks. That is why he repeated the same things, right? Okay. Son speaks. Son, all the time that I have cried, keeping all the things I knew inside. Son, actually he cried, right? Isn't it? Son thinks, right? All the time that I have cried. Usually we have some sons are stubborn. They keeping everything like clone. You have remember the clone, right? He has a lot of problems, but he doesn't say what he feels inside his mind, right? So like this, Surans is also here because of his father's overprotection or over suppression. That's why he doesn't like to express anything. So here the son all the time that I have cried, keeping all the things. All the things means here his opinions, dreams, judgment. He has everything. A lot of things he has, right? I knew inside. It's hard. It's hard, but it is harder to ignore. What do you mean by hard? What is hard? Keeping those desires, keeping those dreams, keeping inside in his mind, that is the hard. But without expressing anyone, we can't leave it without, can't achieve this one. Within my family can't achieve these things. That is, it can't ignore. That is the hard, right? So he has in a pathetic situation. Can't. He is in a pathetic self-pity. We can say his self-pity. Actually, he is a self-pity, no? Self-pity. Pathetic situation. Can't say, can't express that's his dreams. But he can't leave it. Can't leave that one. Okay, ignore that. If they were right, I would agree, but it's them. They know me. Actually, the fathers, they think that their life were some miserable and had some problem that they think that is their life, that their son's life is also would be like his life. So here son tells that the uh, others they have failed in their life, that not mean that I will fail in my life, right? He will not fail in my life. That is not compared. Sometimes if they were right, I would act, but it's them. Here is also the poet used that it's them, not the proper format. It's them. They know them, but they don't know me. They know them, but they don't know me. But they don't know me, right? But they don't know me. That's why he says, I can achieve my goals. Why do you don't compare me with others? They know. That is their fathers, like my father, like the other fathers. They had a miserable life. They couldn't achieve their target. So that is mean that I will fail in my life, right? Now there is a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have. Here is also the son's desires, how he was anxious. He was anxious to go out of the world, out of the house. He wants to explore the world. He wants to explore the world, right? Explore the world. He's an innovative person, no? He's an innovative person, right? He wants to, right? Wow, that is why he said, there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go. He wants to go out of the house, right? So we can see, right? Father and son, let's see theme like the generation gap. Parents don't understand. You know, you have that experience. Parents don't understand because of age gap, maybe. The passage of time we have nowadays, we have different opportunities, educational external forces, like not that earlier their fathers or ancestors, they didn't have the opportunity like as we have nowadays. Technological development may be distanced their relationships. Okay, we can say parents expect children follow them. Usually this is the actually we know, right? Parents expect children follow them, because that is not the we can't say it, the parents expecting the children that they must follow their advices. That is not fault, but because every parent, they think their child son or daughter have to have a nice life, better life, without any problem in their life. They had to have a nice life, right? Children think parents are conventional. That usually this you think as you are girls and sons, or you have brothers at your home, you think the children think parents are conventional. They are using traditional way. What is the you? They some of you don't like to do the ritual things, no rituals. Celebrating the ceremonies of the first anniversary of the dead person. So you think, wow, what is this? Why do we celebrate that then? Why? What happened? Why? They do not believe anything. Mistrust, right? The children's mistrust, right? Mistrust the conventional, right? So you think, but sometimes the parents' advice help us to have a nice life. Dissatisfying with the conventional life, yes. Dissatisfaction you don't have, as I have told earlier. Dissatisfaction, you don't like to have a ritual life or traditional way. You have to go around the world. Nowadays, the girls, women's also fly in the aeroplane. They are a lot of pilots are there. So you have to wear the traditional way, wearing saris, and some of you don't like to wear saris. You have wearing jeans and so that is the, you can think in that different ways and says about the gap. Yes, actually the gap, because the son, there is a conflict between the father and son because of the age gap and modernity and traditional way of the lifestyle. Lifestyle is changing nowadays, no? Next one, repetition, dialogue form, rhetorical questions, and imperative form. Just relax, take your time. So here, through the imperative form, father's dominant nature on and a commanding nature, over possessive nature is reflected, right? Rhetorical question to the rhetorical questions. The son's depression, frustration, how the son is worries, right? The dialogue form. Actually, this is a dialogue form, but actually, the father father is an open-minded person, but son is not open-minded. He is stubborn. He keeps everything inside him and worries, right? Okay, let's we go the questions. You are still young, that's your fault. There is so much you have to know. First one, who speaks these words, you know what's your answer, think about the answers. Who speaks this word? The father. The word is, these words are spoken by father. To whom? To his son. What is meant by father and son? Yes, you can write. I think you it is simple questions, right? What is meant by that's your fault? That's your fault means, what do you mean by immature, the inexperience, immatured one, or inexperience, or whatever you can write. The answers can be written related to the things, right? What does the speaker mean by so much you have to know? Because here, why does the poet say you so much you have to know? Because the son doesn't have any experience. He have to know he is in the unknown world. Experience, he is in the unknown world. He will be in the unknown world or later on, so he have to know some experience, right? So much you have to know. Now you don't have any experience, you are immature, right? So you don't go yourself, be calm, just relax, think why. So far told earlier, right? Okay, let's go to other questions. Right. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I am happy. Earlier I have told the look at me, I am old, I am happy, right? Fathers think that if the sons get married, he will get every responsibilities and he would know the world. Who is referred to as me? Me here. Look at me, father, right? Father here. Explain the attitude of me towards a person referred to as you. Me, you means here, son. What is the attitude of the father towards? What do you mean? That is attitude of fathers, right? He was what is over affection on the son, right? Over possessive nature attitudes. He loves his father, son, right? Actually, whatever you can attitude of me, father's attitude towards he over perfection or over possessive nature attitudes, he must follow my advice, dominant nature, right? You can write, right? Okay. Next one. How can I try to explain? Cause when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same story. Here the poet used who is referred to as I here. How can I try? How can I try to explain? When I do when I do, right? Here, I hear son to whom? Himself. So maybe, himself, not his father or himself, or his conscience. Conscience means we have a conscience, right? What poetic device is used here? Alterations and rhetorical questions. How can write explain? Rhetorical questions. And yes, same old story. The alterations, right? Alteration, right? Whatever you find. If you have any more device, you can write, right? Okay. How would you describe the feeling of the speaker? Yes, now you have feeling. The son, how does he feel? How can I try to explain? Because he always the same. What is he is in a depression, right? Frustration, depression, right? Sorry, depression mode. It's different. He whatever you can depression, frustration, right? Feelings. You can explain the feelings, right? Different ways. Depressions. Oh, it's not clear. Depressions. Sorry. Depression. Whatever, right? You can write any whatever you like. right? Feeling, because these depend on your feelings also. You think how the son feels, right? And find the words related to this questions and lines, right? Next we go to the other question 4. All the times that I have cried, keeping all the things I knew inside, it's hard, but it's harder to ignore it. What is hard and what is harder? Already I have told that keeping all the things means that his dreams and desires and his opinions and judgments, that is keeping. That is hard. Without expressing that his dreams and desires is hard. What is harder? Without leaving that, without even ignore that, leave that his dreams. Oh, it's leaving the his dreams and opinion and judgment. That is harder, right? Ignoring his dreams, ignoring his opinions, ignoring his, because he likes to explore the world. No, that is harder, right? What is meant by all the things means I already have told. All things means his opinion, desires, dreams, right? Whatever, right? You can. What is the attitude of the speaker reflected here? Attitude of the speaker, right? What is attitude, right? He's stubborn, no, right? All are same thing. Stubborn. He is stubborn. What is attitude? Oh, self-pity, self-reliance. What you can rise? Stubborn, depression. Oh, what is attitude, right? Card. He's in a sad mood, right? Sad mood, sympathy, self-pity, or whatever you can write. Okay. Right, discuss the reference to the poem. Fathers, look at this, 2018 December question. This is the 18 December questions. A father's lack of understanding of a son's desire to break away and shape a new life, right? Son's desire to break away and shape a new life. Lack of understanding. You can find, look at this one, lack of understanding. You can, with a reference to the poem, you can understand. The whole poem tells that the father's lack of understanding, no? His dominant power, protection, right? Possessive nature, that's lack of understanding. He doesn't think, he never consider that his son, that his advice hurt his son, right? Never thinks, right? Okay. Next one focuses on the generation gap between young and old, leading conflict in their viewpoints, right? Viewpoints. We think, sons thinks in a different way. Father, in contrast, father think in a different ways, right? So age gap, generation gap, we can analyze in different ways. The viewpoints, right? Father's lifestyle is different from the son's lifestyle. Father's time, when the fathers were in his age, his lifestyle, his everything, his social norms, social processing is different, was different. But here, son's social processing, social background, social lifestyle, everything's different. So that makes conflict, that leads to conflict, right? That is mentioned, reflected in the poems, father and son. Okay, now we will go to the next poem. If you have any doubts, please text to me, right? Okay, shall we go to the next poem? Do you have, right, now we will discuss do you have any problems and do you have any doubts, text to me, and we will discuss other poems because we have a short time. The short time is given to me, so our time is over. So we will, if we have time, we will discuss later on.